Great. All right, let's get started with the workshop. I call it a workshop because there are some things that you can do to play along. I really want to make sure you get some value from today. I appreciate you're busy people, and hopefully what I'm going to share with you will be insightful, useful to you, and you'll be able to apply it, be able to use it straight away. So the title here is about redefining success. And the reason why I call it that is because I think often we're in the pursuit as business owners, business leaders, ambitious people, we're in the pursuit of success. Sometimes I speak to a lot of people that realize that what they thought was going to be success wasn't success for them. And normally because other things around their life outside the business have suffered as a consequence of this ambition, certainly myself included. The people that I work with primarily are business owners with kids, but not exclusively. We have a chap in the mastermind. He's 24 years old. He's single and he's very ambitious, but he just wants to make sure that he achieves his goals without wrecking his health. He wants to be more present with his family and keep all that in balance. I use the term work-life balance because it's universally understood. I don't agree with it, if I'm honest. I'm not sure. I think it might be a bit of a myth to this idea of work-life balance, but this idea of integration and making things work around and making sure that we are present in these other areas of our lives, I think are really important. So as far as objectives for today, I'll give you a bit of an agenda. I'm going to introduce the 4 keys method and what it's about and why you can use it immediately. Why I believe in the 4 keys method and you, because I've worked with a lot of people and my own experience of applying this idea. I'm going to share a story about Brian Johnson, who was one of the first people to join the program back in 2018, and how he went from completely overwhelmed, stressed out, to feeling happier, healthier, and less stressed. A transformational story of a director of a business who was struggling with the current situation, but very ambitious with the business. And I'm also going to take a more practical approach for you. So there are 3 essential steps that I recommend implementing when you use the 4 keys method. So there are steps. So there's the 4 keys method, these 4 areas of our lives that I talk about: business, body, relationships, and mindset. And I'll talk about the 3 steps that you can take immediately to implement that. My name's Andrew Sillitoe. I'm married to Lucy. I have 4 kids. I'm a business psychologist. I have a master's in organizational psychology. My background is in leadership. I'm a former international athlete and coach. I've written 3 books, one of them being the 4 keys. In 2012, I started my own consultancy business. So I'd been working in corporate companies like Yellow Pages, been working in a large recruitment agency, heading up their leadership development. And I left in 2012 to start my own management consultancy. So I was following McKinsey around and doing these big management consultancy programs, big leadership programs. When you start a business, you do not want to turn any work away. You're chasing everything. You don't know if it's going to be the last deal you ever do. You want customers, you want clients. I remember a time when Ericsson, Swedish telco company, got in touch with me and said, can you be in Dubai next Tuesday? This was the Wednesday before. Can you be in Dubai next Tuesday to work with our leadership team? And I was like, yep, no problem. I can do that. And then I was thinking, I need to get a flight back at 2 a.m. to be in Tunbridge Wells to kick off with AXA PPP the next day, but I can make it work, just chasing money. And over 5 years, I noticed I was suffering with gout. I was getting gout attacks. I've learned a lot about gout over the years. If you know anyone that's got gout, if you suffer with gout, the pain that comes with it. Essentially, I was just pushing myself. I was the head coach for the British team as well. So I was obsessed with that. And we had a lot of success. And I wrote a book about that experience. So I was, on the surface, I was doing brilliantly. I was living the dream until my wife turned around in 2017 and said, I did not sign up for this. And she left me, actually. We'd separated. And so I went on this transformation, stepping back and saying, what's going on with me? Why am I suffering with this stress? Why am I suffering with this inflammation in my body? Why does my wife not want to be around me? Why am I disconnected with my eldest daughter? All these things were going on because I just hadn't been present. My wife would say to me, I don't care about you not being around during the week if you're working. I just need you to be here when you're here. And I remember when she said she was leaving, I remember thinking, wait, what? You're leaving? Why? But I shouldn't have been, because the conversations were taking place. They were happening all the time. I just wasn't really listening to them. And so fortunately, I went on a bit of a journey and started putting this idea in place, these 4 keys. And I was used to coaching people with the there's a coaching wheel you can use. It's got 8 elements of our lives, or 10 elements. And I just thought it was a bit too heavy. When I started thinking about what are the most important things in my life, my business, my body, my relationships, and my mindset. If I can just double down on those 4 things and do something for the next 3 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, and it turned out to be 12 weeks in the end, but just setting targets in each of these every day, what could happen? And so I did that. Well, I started building a community. I built a mastermind of other like-minded business owners and business leaders who joined me on this journey. And Brian's one of them. I'll share that with you. 2 years later, my wife and I reconciled, started to build our friendship again. She started to see me as, she could see that it wasn't just, oh, I've changed. No, I've had some transformation. My health had improved. I was feeling fitter. I was happier. I had more energy for my kids. And so then we decided to start fresh and move to Prague. And so I live in Prague now, been here for 5 years, and probably play more hockey than I should, but my kids play hockey. I'm having a good life. And so what I hope is what I share with you today, if you are struggling with to balance with in your relationship, your health, you just feel completely overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. It's not this angelic view. We can be really focused. We can get a lot of work done and be more productive by just taking some simple things. And work-life balance isn't about doing less. It's not about being lazy, because people fear it. If I have work-life balance, maybe I'll lose my edge, my competitiveness. I'll lose clients. But actually, to achieve work-life balance, we have to do more. Put more effort in, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And that's why I believe in the 4 keys method, and why I believe in you. And if you are struggling with some of these things, you can make change happen. And as fluffy as it sounds, or cliche, it's a continuous journey, but to be the best version of yourselves. And so Brian, when I met him in 2018, he's a husband, he's a father. He wasn't happy with the way he was showing up as a husband. The relationship wasn't where he thought it should be as a father, and being present with his son. He was the director at Forward Roll at the time, which is a recruitment agency in Manchester that specializes in marketing. And his goal was to become managing director. There's a big push to grow the business. He had about 13 people at the time. And to him, he thought becoming a management director was just going to be more work. How could he possibly do it? He had back pain. If someone has back pain, or they have IBS or migraines, some kind of inflammation in the body, I'm always curious about what's going on in their life, the stress. So we put back pain down to, I'm getting older, I played a lot of sport or whatever. I played sport the other day, and that's just a consequence of why my back's sore or whatever. It doesn't have to be that way. And a lot of back pain and inflammation in the body is due to stress. And so then it just builds and builds. So he was lacking quality time with his wife and his son, and he needed a plan. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. This was the plan that I implemented for myself, and then I worked with Brian and several others on this. And so if you follow along, you can put this in place yourself. The first thing around these 3 key steps when it comes to implementing the 4 keys method, so when you start thinking about your business and your strategy, your plan. By the way, business strategy, one of the things, if you remove relationships and you remove mindset and health, even business can just feel out of balance, because we're trying to do too many things. We are not really clear about who our customer is, or why they would buy from us, or what the strategy is. And so simplifying the strategy sometimes seems too obvious and impossible, but it is the key to success. I've worked with thousands of small businesses, even back in my time with Yellow Pages. Anyone that knows Yellow Pages, I was that guy that was turning up at your house and trying to sell you an ad. That's what I did. And I met thousands of business owners at Yellow Pages. And the ones that had really good processes, really organized, really clear on who their client was, really clear on their product and what they offer and what problem it solved, were way more successful than the ones that were trying to spin all the plates and offer lots of different options. All right. So balance in business is key, knowing exactly what we're trying to achieve in our business. And then health, simple things that you can do, and relationships, being present, etc., and mindset. If I talked about meditation and mindfulness 10 years ago, in fact, I wrote a book called Managing the Mist. It's a book on mindfulness. I don't mention mindfulness once because I thought it was too woo-woo and fluffy. Now there's a much bigger interest in it. So the first thing we do is we create a vision. This is actually my vision board from 2017, end of 2017. And you can see it's in 4 parts. So we've got business here, body, relationships, and mindset. You don't have to do these types of drawings. If you're the type of person that likes to write and do bullets, that's absolutely fine. Doesn't matter how you do it. But it's really worth thinking about the things you want to achieve and the change you seek to make in your business in a year's time, or where you are in your health, or where you are with your family, or where you are in your mindset. And so in business, I realized that if I was going to connect with more people and share this idea, I couldn't do it one-on-one with everybody. So I could write a book. So I wrote a book called The Four Keys. I created a video program so people could watch it and go through it. I wanted to connect with as many people on this as possible. And one of the other reasons why this was personal to me is because when I was 16, my father died of a sudden heart attack. He was 48. He was a businessman, and that really impacted me. And so the fact that I was following this similar path in a way, I'm 48 now. My dad had gout. It's the only thing he ever complained about was gout. My family joke about it because my dad lost his money by the time he passed away. But the only thing he left me was gout because it's hereditary. So we joke about it, but it was serious, really. And so I created these things, and that started to get traction. By the end of 2018, we had around 250 people that had gone through the program and started using this and telling me their stories and so on from all over the world. It was amazing. In my body, I wanted to get stronger. So just these images, I wanted to play football with my son. I wanted to keep playing roller hockey because there was vets, and I dropped out the game. I put it behind me, and I thought, you know what, I can play. This time it was 38 and over. I want to make the British team. My family at the time, at this point, I had 3 children, obviously my wife, and I had this vision. I actually wrote a postcard in my book, and it's a postcard describing how we'd be living in Prague and so on. And at that time, my wife and I were talking about divorce. So it was just a dream, really, just an idea. These little ones here, little redheads. My wife is brown hair, olive skin, brown eyes, and these 2 redheads popped out. Go figure, I don't know why. And then I wanted to be calm, collected. I wanted to be snappy. I was irritable. Little things would just annoy me because I was tired and my body was inflamed and I was angry in some ways. So I wanted to go through this, find some peace, some inner peace, enjoy. My dad was great, but he didn't play with us a lot as kids. We talked about this last week with my sisters, and he was a good sportsman, but I don't really remember him playing with me. And I realized that I was doing the same with my kids. I didn't have this energy to play with my kids. It was just like, whereas now I get so excited about it. So we put this vision in place, and we can tap into for those that are familiar with Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, this idea of sharing this vision and putting it somewhere and saying, in 12 months time, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to achieve it because I'm going to transform lives. I'm going to impact my customers, and I'm going to do something for these people. There's got to be a two-way street. Sometimes people vision, they go, I want the car, I want to make the money, I want to buy the watch, and it's all me. But those that I think succeed are the ones that reverse engineer everything through being in the business of transformation. So your customers, when they buy your product, it's transforming their lives in some way. It's impacting their life. It's making their lives better, easier, more, it's a useful to them versus how many of these things can I sell so I can make more money? Does that make sense? Of course, we've got to make money. We're in the business, right? We've got to make money. We're in commerce, but it's that two-way street. So when we think about our vision, think about it in that way. Think about, what do I want for me in my health, my business, my leadership, my family, the way I feel, and how does that impact my family, my clients? What's the purpose behind it, the why that really connects with people? So once you've got this vision, which at this stage might seem a bit out there, maybe even a little bit deluded. And I would encourage you to be a little bit deluded. When I was the head coach for the British team, we had this whole mantra about being deluded. We're going to win the gold medal. And everyone said, it's impossible. You lost to Australia last year. And this was to get into the A pool so we could play in the top 8 countries. And we were like, no, let's just imagine it. Let's just keep going, keep saying we're going to win this gold medal. And you create a 90-day reset. And you get laser focused. And you say, what am I going to achieve in the next 90 days that's going to move me towards that vision faster? And often what people do is they start going straight into SMART objectives then. And there are a few steps to consider before that. And the first step is, what is your single biggest challenge right now in your business? What is your single biggest challenge right now in your health, in your relationship, in your mindset? And get clarity on that. And by the way, if you go to the4keysmethod.com, there is a link and you can start the 90-day reset. There's no charge. It's an opportunity for you to reflect on these questions here. and create your own 90-day reset. And so once you've got an idea of where your starting point is, where you are now, we want to start thinking about, okay, where do I want to be in 90 days and how am I going to do it? What is my desired outcome in 90 days? What's going to move me towards that vision faster? What's the result that I need to achieve in the next 90 days? And then you work with your team, or you work with your partner, or you work with your coach and mentor, and you brainstorm ideas with them. You say, look, this is where I am. It's my biggest challenge right now. This is where I want us to be. Let's brainstorm some ideas. And you start to bounce these ideas, and you exhaust all these ideas, and then you choose one. And you say, this is what I'm doing, and you commit to it. It's very easy to get distracted by all the ideas, or think, if I choose this idea, what if it's wrong? Think of them as tactics, right? The objective of a game, of a football match, is to what tactics you apply in the first half might not be the right tactics, and you have to change them at half time. That's okay. So you might get to 30 days, 60 days and think, you know what? We need to tweak this a little bit. We're not losing sight of the vision, and we're not losing sight of the outcome. But we might just change the tactics a little bit to make it work. Maybe this fitness regime is not working for me. Maybe this business development strategy that we're using is not right, or this marketing idea. We have to be agile with that. So you might come back to a different idea, but you never lose sight of the vision. You never lose sight of the goal. Does that make sense? But you can change the tactics. So don't be worried about choosing the best option. Just choose the option, commit to it, implement it, execute it. You review it, see what's working, what's not working, and then you change if necessary, or you double down. You execute on it. And remember, it's 90 days. When we did this in 2018, there were about 6 of us. Brian was one of them, Brett, Stephen, Mark, Wayne. We just went all in on it for 90 days. And what I'd learned after a year was just that 90 days of aggressive action, or just being completely focused, there was this compound effect. So a year later, I was so grateful for the work I did at the beginning of January 2018. So it builds over time. So we talked about the vision so far in 4 keys. We've talked about your 90-day reset in 4 keys. Anybody got a question at this stage?
Sorry, Andrew, I've just put on the chat. What was that website again? Was it the4keys.com?
The 4keysmethod.com.
The 4keysmethod.com.
Yeah. And you can access the link, the 90-day reset there. You can go through these questions and create your own 90-day reset. So you get a tracker, and then you can do the tracker every week to see how you're progressing. You get a score every week, and you can share it with your coach and say, this is my score. I want to improve these areas, and you get really practical about it. And then once we've got a clear vision in the 4 keys, we've got a 90-day reset in 4 keys, we need to start thinking about, how am I going to implement this daily? What does daily look like? And I won't go into too much detail, but essentially you want to be thinking about, what are the habits? What are the consistent things you can do to implement these things? Morning routines have got a bit of a faddish. I think we've always had some sort of morning routine, right? You get up, shower, brush your teeth, and so on. I think a morning routine is really important, particularly a consistent one. It's like the foundation for the day. And one thing that I've found worked is get up at 6 o'clock. I like to just get up, have a stretch. My eldest is not living with us anymore. She lives in Whistler, a ski instructor. So the three kids, I've got a 2-year-old, an 8-year-old, 10-year-old. It's a bit chaotic in the mornings, but I like to wake up with them. I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. I have done that, and you can be quite productive, and having that peace and quiet in the morning is nice. But I get up, I stretch for 5 minutes, nothing crazy, just stretch. I like box breathing. I do a little bit of box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds. I do that 10 rounds of that, just to get my parasympathetic nervous system engaged. And then this one's up for debate, I expect, but then I go straight to a cold shower. And the reason why I have a cold shower, because I want to experience a little bit of discomfort in the morning. I'm always negotiating with myself with the cold shower. I don't really want to do it, but I do it because it trains my brain to overcome discomfort. And the brain can't differentiate from one threat or another. It just responds. Your brain can't differentiate, but what it can do is it can learn how to re-engage the parasympathetic nervous system. So you're not in fight flight all the time. You're not dealing with the business chaos in a fight flight situation. We find ways to train our brain to do that. And I have found that the cold shower is the most simple way to do it. Just be 1 minute of cold water, but practice doing the box breathing through it. So you calm the nervous system. Think about the daily tasks. I'm a big fan of chunking. I like to think about, what can I do before 8 o'clock today? So I typically think about the things that I find like hardest, the heaviest lifting. I think Brian Tracy called this eating the frog first, or focusing on the non-urgent but important tasks. So for me, that's writing, that's getting some content done, the stuff that around social media, that's something I would do and get it done. And then I think, what can I do by 10? What can I do by 12? And I've tried to focus on that. So business development, I'm a one-person business now. I don't have a consultancy business anymore. I'm very happy with what I'm doing. And so BD is on me. I reach out to people. So I try and think, who can I speak to? Who can I make friends with today by 10 o'clock? And so I often focus on the power of three. Three big tasks that I need to achieve each day. Big fan of the power of three. I think sometimes if there's 15 things, it's too many. I appreciate it. It might seem a bit angelic to just have three things, but what are the three non-negotiables for you that day in your business that you must achieve? And then simple training, fitness. I don't train for more than 10, 20 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. The idea of being in the gym for an hour or doing the CrossFit stuff or hours in the gym, driving to the gym, getting changed, driving back, I have no time for that. So I like to do 10-minute, not HIIT sessions. I don't think HIIT sessions are great for the body. Those of you that know about high intensity interval training, where you just smash it out for 10 minutes, I don't think that's good for the body. It creates a lot of stress in the body, a lot of acid in the body. And it's one of the reasons what was causing my gout, actually. But a more mindful, we're doing some body weight squats. If you're in an office, you can grease the groove, right? And greasing the groove is actually proven to be one of the best ways to get strong. And being strong as we age is really important, adds to longevity. I have a goal that I can get off the toilet by myself at the age of 95. So greasing the groove is essentially doing 10 body weight squats. You get up away from your desk, you do 10 squats or 10 push-ups, something like that. And then that's it. You don't sweat, you just do it an hour later. It's a very good way to get strong, keep your body mobile and flexible. Nutrition plans that are easy to follow, make something work for you. There are so many fads out there. Meat and veg, just stick to meat and veg and fruit. You can't go wrong. If you're vegan, then find the right protein to replace the meat. Make sure you're getting your B12, but keeping it simple. One of the biggest villains in the world right now is these companies that are pushing processed food on us and our kids, and it's causing mental health problems. It's causing obesity, and it's terrible. It really is a real problem. And it's something that we really need to fight back against and educate ourselves, educate our kids, because we've got to get back to the basics when it comes to food. And then thinking about, what can I do each day? Switching off, being present. Do you have a time where you turn your phone off and you switch off from work and so on? And having a good bedtime routine. What's the kind of last half an hour before you close your eyes and go to sleep? What does that look like? Is it on the device, which we know not a good thing to do, but even if you turn the lights down, just TV off, have a little sort of wander around, whatever you do. That's typically what I do. Look out the window. Here I can see Letna Park, which is a big park in Prague. Just look out, do a bit of gratitude. I'm thankful for. These are things that I've never did, but particularly during challenging times. So these are the things that we want to integrate some consistent habits through the day. You think about, what's the one habit that I can implement today? What's one thing I can do that's going to help me towards the 90-day results and ultimately the vision? And I think it's a Tibetan proverb, you take care of the minutes and the years take care of themselves. I think you take care of the days and the vision takes care of itself. These focus on the power of three. What are the three things I must do? What about my health? Okay, 10 minutes for my health. Eat, follow some kind of healthy plan, at least 80% of the time with your nutrition. Learning to switch off, decompress, have a good bedtime routine, and so on. And so Brian put this in place. And one of the things that he's very evangelical about it. He's an ex-rugby pro. Brian, for him, was most telling was his wife. His relationship with Sarah is unbelievable. We spoke the other day. He's happier, healthier, less stressed. He became the MD for Forward Roll. The business is now gone from 13 people to 50 people. It's ranked 7th UK best place to work, best for well-being. He's completely rolled out the 4 keys for his business. And his managers use it. It's that easy to use, right? You can take it away today and use it and share it with people. And so the fact that they've become the 9th best for well-being by rolling this out, and his managers delivering it to their staff when they come on board, all their objective setting is around the 4 keys. And it's been a real success for him, as it has for many. I'm sure Mark and I spoke yesterday. Mark Bracknell might have something to say, Mark, at some point, but having been through the program yourself, start your 90-day reset today. you can get stuck straight into it. You don't have to reach out to me. You can do the 90-day reset, answer the questions. You'll get an email, which will give you then a link to a tracker. And then you can check your score every week. And you can do it every Friday. We're in the group, we do it every Friday. And we just share the score, see where we're at. Okay, my score's gone up, it's gone down, or it's gone down in this area for some reason. So this is my focus for next week. For example, mine last week, I scored 72%, but my relationships was at 43. Wife is going to have some time to herself. On Sunday, I'm going to take the kids to hockey. I'm going to take Wednesday morning off to have some time with them. But you make it work. You take action around it. So thank you for your time. If you've got any questions, please ask. If there was anything useful that stood out for you in the chat, just tell us. What's one thing you'll take away from this presentation that you could apply today? And if you're brave enough, put it in the chat.
I'll share as well, Andrew, as well. Me and Brian have had quite a similar story. That could have been me in that sense, in terms of those, because I was the exact same sort of place, stress, overworked, and this stuff has just transformed my life. And it is as simple, actually, as doing that vision and then consistently keeping yourself accountable to those 90-day goals. And I was quite apprehensive about if it would work, but it isn't actually. I only felt I needed to concentrate on the business key, and if the business was fine, everything else would fall in line. But it was the opposite, actually. It was actually concentrating on the mind piece, the family piece. That is the stuff that really brought the business back in line. Yeah, it does work massively.
So I think really listening to what you've shared this morning gives me some very practical tips that I can go and implement now, because I'm not in the best place that I want to be completely honest. And I can tell that my 17-year-old son's quite concerned, because he read the medical report when it came back and he said, "Dad, you need to do something." I think what you've shared is practically very useful, and thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you for sharing that. And I've no doubt you will get yourself into the health that you want to be. Yeah,
For sure.
Hopefully that, in the theme of slowing down to speed up and reflecting and thinking about the bigger picture and being intentional in these 4 key areas, hopefully that will, you'll take some action around that. And if anybody, if you're on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm there, Andrew Sillitoe. It'd be great to connect. And like I said, take advantage of the 90-day reset and the tools that are available to you.